after a really good start. I'm delighted to be joined by Regine, who is going to tell us a little bit about herself and her books now we've stopped laughing.
Yes. Hi. Sorry, we're laughing because we were just chatting before and I just say something silly. But yeah, I'm Regine. I'm French. I've lived in England for 43 years now, and I write under the name of Andree Roby. The reason I chose that name is André is one of my name and it's also my dad's. And Roby is my uncle's name, who was a Chevalier de la Légion d'honneur. So he got the highest military honor in France. And to me, there was a good tribute to use that. Plus, I wanted something which is easy to say, because Regine's okay, but my name is Belgium, is Flemish, so it's more like German, Dumrank. Most people can't say it. So I was lucky in the way I married a Grove. I was married to a Grove for 19 years, so that was so easy going anywhere. Saying Grove, much easier than Dumrank. So now I'm Andree Roby, much easier as well. And then it still stays through to the French. So, and I've written 2 crime fiction books and 1 A to Z of poem, flash fiction, short story. And there are 2 sort of crime stories, but the rest is just everything. There's things on COVID. There's a poem to my daughter. There's just everything. Thoroughly enjoyed writing that. Yeah. And that's me. I was a teacher and quit the job, which opened different avenues and actually led to me writing. So as we say, every cloud has a silver lining, because I would probably never have got into writing if I'd carried on teaching languages. So yeah, it helped.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had time.
No, I wouldn't have had time. I did have time to do a degree whilst I was working, and I don't know why I did that, but there is absolutely no way I would have been able to concentrate on the book if I had been teaching and commuting, every day like I did for 6 years. So yeah, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
So do you publish your books in France as well?
Not yet. I had done about 6 chapters of translating Double Vision. But because I've decided to redo Double Vision a bit, I've put that on hold. But I really wish I'd managed to translate some more, so that some of my family could read it. But it will be done. At the moment, I just want to redo my first book, Double Vision. I was going to redo partly the story, and you know what? I just love the story, and the only thing I'm going to do with it is I'm going to expand on the characters. And this is where we first meet Amanda, the medium, the psychic medium. And writing the prequel last year, I got to know Amanda so much better that I think, okay, I will write more about her in this, which is the follow-on, and also expand on the characters. But I just love the story. The story is nothing like what I've read anywhere else. I don't think anyone had the plot, anything like that. Plus, I lived with someone for a few years who was in the same situation as the main character, Vanessa. So whatever is written in there is the feeling that that person went through. So I know that this book reflects what happens to people in that situation, which obviously I can't tell you what the situation is, because then I'll give away the book. So, yeah.
So I'm curious, because you teach languages and are obviously from France and things, do you write in French or do you write in English?
No, I write in English. And in fact, when I was trying to do the translation into French, I was struggling, because having been in England for 43 years, I think in English, I dream in English. English is my almost default language now. So, and my French has moved a bit with the times, but because I don't live there, I don't have the lingo, like the everyday lingo. Like, in the 40 years I've been here, there's been different expressions depending on the decades. You get new things, and it's the same in France. So I'm not totally up to date with the lingo in France. I will do the basic, and then maybe just get some of my school friends in France to go through it, and then just make it more up to date. But yeah, I will do that once I've expanded. It won't be a major reshuffle. The cover will change to fit in with the cover of Found Vision. But already I've talked more about the two characters, Vanessa and Vince. And as I said, I know so much more about Amanda now that I can put more. And yeah, and I've developed a character as the psychic mediums. She will have more to say in that book as well.
Nice. So we've got Joe and Sam watching. Joe says good evening.
Good evening, Joe.
Sam is being very kind to us and says hello, lovely ladies.
Thank you. Yeah, Joe is lovely.
She's passing all of those comments on to you. Sam says, tell us about the anthology that you've been working on.
It's not crime. It's actually an anthology for, I'm affiliated with there is a Nepali publisher called Book Hill, a very good reputable company in Nepal. And the lady Sangeeta started Book Hill International in the UK. So I'm affiliated with them, doing some editing, and I'm in charge of this anthology, which is short stories, 1,500 to 5,000 words, on a glimpse into your country. So at the moment, it's really good. I have stories from Nepal, from Bangladesh, from Australia, Zimbabwe. I've got a story about Saint-Denis in near Croydon. And I've written about my childhood, my France, and my Paris of the 60s and 70s growing up there. So it's quite an array of things. It's very interesting. And hopefully, we'll get more story. And Sam, we're waiting for your story. She said she was going to do one.
Sam, get working.
Sam, get working. Yeah, you did say my last interview with you would like to do a short story. So there's your chance.
She's so good as well when she writes short stories.
Yeah, I know. I've read something she did. When was that? There was some stories. That was very good. Yeah.
She's in our criminal shorts anthology we did for Red Kite Academy.
That's right. Yes.
Mm-hmm. She's saying, is the closing date still tomorrow?
No, it's the 30th of May now.
Oh, there you go. Sam, a bit longer. And Joe thinks that you should be working on it as well from the comments, Sam. So you really do need to get going. We'll come around and sort you out. I know you regress. I'm just sorry. Someone commented and I couldn't see who it was. I'm just looking on my phone for the name. It's Pauline Renda Byron. She says, good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Pauline.
Joe is obviously doing a good job of trying to win the competition. He's got some questions for you. He says, if you were offered a big publication deal, would you insist on keeping control over the covers of your books?
Oh, definitely.
Thinking of how the cover tells the story of failed vision.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I've done all 3 covers. I mean, this one I did myself and I was very proud of it. People know that my daughter didn't agree on it, but I'm proud of it. It's the first time I did a cover, and no, I definitely want to be able to do them. I have seen friends one friend that is writer who paid people to do covers, and she spent so much money. And in the end, some of the covers didn't even relate to the stories. Eventually, she found someone, and then she got a cover that you could understand that was relating to the story. And to me, that's important. I want my books to appeal and that people say, oh, now I can see, like, if you read Fell Vision, where am I going, why this is there. And to me, that's important. And the same with Double Vision. You understand what those characters in the glasses are about. So, yeah, I will keep control of the covers, Joe. Yeah.
He also wants to know if there's another language that you'd like to learn.
Well, I speak Spanish as well. I'm fluent in Spanish. Maybe Italian, or I've tried Portuguese because my second husband spoke Portuguese, but I didn't get on. I like Spanish too much. Portuguese too different. Maybe Italian. I mean, I was lucky. I did philosophy and Latin when I was young, because all those years ago, it was like in France, it was like standard. And I think that has given me a love of words, because even when I was in the lycée, I used to write articles, I used to write things, and I think all that comes from doing philosophy and languages. Yeah, so probably Italian I would try.
Nice.
It's not a glass of gin, Joe, it's water. I can see he thinks I'm drinking gin.
He might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He might be, yes.
He might know that me and Sam normally drink as well.
Do you?
No, mine is just a soft drink today.
Mine is only water. It's only water.
It is often something alcoholic.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, but it's not today. It's just a soft drink. So I want to know, before I ask you any more questions off the stream, I want to know why you chose to have a psychic medium in your books, because it's an unusual choice. I like it. I think it's a really good choice.
Okay.
But
well, I've watched I've watched Long Island Medium, all of the series, but before that, I used to watch Psychic Detective, the medium that helped all the cases in the States. I can't remember what channel it was on, but I was fascinated by how some of them, which just having like either a picture or an item, could find out what happened, could have vision, because they all have different things. Some will hear things, some will see, some will sense. So to actually get the information, and a lot of the cases that I have read about that were in the documentary, in the Psychic Detective, they actually helped to solve the case. And to me, I thought, isn't that fantastic when you're at a crossroad or a dead end, and you don't know where to go, just to have that little bit of information which could put you onto the right track to either find a body or because so many families, have lost loved ones and they never found a body. So if there can be a closure, that would be good. I have consulted mediums, and I've had some pretty accurate readings from mediums. So that encourages me in my vision with Amanda. And when I write about Amanda and when she's going through in both books, I'm remembering the Psychic Detective, and I'm remembering the session as well from that I've had. Although I think in Double Vision, I will expand a bit more on that, because there's so much to say about it now. So much to say.
have you read any other crime fiction that is used?
No, I haven't. I think you suggested to me some title, and someone else, Leslie Lloyd, mentioned, but I've had a dry spell where I've not read anything, because I've concentrated on the anthology and rewriting Double Vision. But I will read some of the books that people have recommended about psychic. The thing is, there is a psychic, but it's more than just a psychic in there. in that story. The storyline is nothing that you've heard. So there's two elements. There's the psychic, which is interesting, but actually the Vanessa character, that is really interesting too.
You're very right. David Monaghan Jones says, I'm fascinated by your accent. What parts of the UK have you lived in?
I lived in Croydon for 35 years, and then I'm now in Sussex since 2011. Oh, nearly 10 years. But the accent is a funny thing. Some people remember, hello, hello, this bloke at the end of the road. That's, some people like the stereotype these days. But I've never liked that accent. And because before I was teaching, I had jobs, quite high jobs in Lloyd's of London, which were not bilingual. So I had to make an effort not to have a strong accent and to blend in with, in English. So I think sometimes when I'm tired, you can hear the accent, but most of the time I won't have a strong French accent, or at least I think I don't, until I hear interviews. And then I think, oh, Christ.
You can't ever listen to yourself talk. I hate listening to myself talk.
So, yeah, I just think, oh, no. I was on Burgess Hill Radio in September 2019, and I thought I sounded very English. But when they sent me the replay, the recording of it, I thought, oh, my goodness, no, this is so French. But, yeah, I guess, that's me. It's part of me.
So Joe has asked, and I think this is quite a good question, because he says the idea of a psychic medium would initially have put him off, but he felt a connection with you. How would you sell the book as a strapline to a non-believer?
Be adventurous. Be adventurous. What do you have to lose? It's not just about the psychic medium. As I said, in there is a plot that you won't have read. So it goes beyond the psychic medium is a means to an end. But beyond that, there is Vanessa, and then there's someone called Ray, and you have to understand what's going on with those two. In Felt Vision, yes, Amanda is there again and she's solving the case, but it's so much more than that. In there, this is the nature versus nurture, which is very much in the news, how, parents and parenting, but poor parenting can influence and can have such a massive impact on children, on their behavior, on their development, on the influence, I refer to the influence of social media, the influence of drugs as well. I know some people in France who've allowed their kids to smoke cannabis from a young age, which is, to me, completely crazy. So it's about what this does to young people. And for Felt Vision, actually, there was a lot of documentary on, what was it called? Britain's Deadliest Kids, Deadliest Killer or something like that. And I learned a lot, and I based this book on, God, I've forgotten his name now. The young chap who killed this little girl in Scotland 3 or 4 years ago, Campbell, but Aaron Campbell, his name was. So anyone that says, oh, psychic medium, I don't understand that, it goes beyond that. The books goes beyond that. And Amanda, as I say, is a helper, but you learn much, much more than that. So give it a go. Be adventurous. As someone made a comment in your thing saying she may not have loved all of them, but that expanded her reading. Well, expand your reading, expand your mind. You may not like it, but then you've had a different experience. That's what you normally read. I used to always read the same books until I suddenly decided, well, why am I always reading the same type of book, the same author? And actually expanding, reading other people is so much richer because everybody's got different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my answer to Joe.
I agree. Well, Joe had a reply on the stream as well from a lady called Michaela. And she says she likes the comment as she feels the same. It has to be quite impartial and not too heavy on what the medium can see, otherwise it would come across as unrealistic to non-believers. I don't think it's always about non-believers though, because I'm not a believer in mediums personally. I think it's the science bent in me. But like, I like to read about things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to explore things that I don't, even if I don't believe, because it's quite nice to learn what everybody else does.
Well, it's about being broad-minded, isn't it? It's about saying, and I don't expect everyone to agree with my book, with the content, with what I said about the medium. That's not what it's about. Is I'm putting something that I think is valid. Whether people agree with it or not, it doesn't matter, but it's about expanding your mind. The thing is, even if you don't believe in medium or anything like that, we all have moments when, say, we meet someone and suddenly our instinct goes, oh, there's something funny about this person. Yes, this is energy. This is like, I don't like that person. And equally, there's some people we see we like, and this is us trusting our instinct. What medium do is trust their instinct and beyond. And sometimes, if you lost loved ones, you might feel their presence, even if you're not into medium or anything like that. Something will remind you of them, a smell, something like that. It's just, that's what it is.
Yeah, Joe's agreeing with diversification in reading. He says he's currently reading a book about the Opium Wars in the 19th century in China.
Ah, that should be interesting.
I'm currently reading a book, Joe, set in the 60s in America.
So, I've got a really good book in my to-be-read pile called Cotton something, and it's about this young black man that was identified in a line by a white woman in the state and sent to prison. And it turns out she got it wrong. She misidentified him. So it's about their friendship and how they've got through that. And that I read reviews on that. I've started reading it, and that is really a powerful book. Really good. I think I will learn a lot from that as well.
Sam's gone back to our discussion about sort of our accents and things, and she says she's the same as me. She says if she has to edit something and she can hear or see herself, she cringes.
And yet, you all have lovely voices. I think it's just this thing we have that, to me, is because when I speak like that, I don't hear the accent. I only hear it when I listen to a recording. So
I think you hear yourself in a certain way.
Yes.
Like, how you think you sound to yourself, and then when you hear yourself on video, you sound really different. So I always think I sound quite posh on video, and I'm not like in any way whatsoever, but it always comes across that way. And so I'll listen to it and we're like, oh, you sound like that. No.
But you have a nice soft voice.
Sam, you've got a beautiful accent.
Sorry?
Sam has said on there that you have a beautiful accent. So.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you.
She's been quite nice. Joe loves books set in the 60s. Pauline Renda Byron says she enjoys crime with a hint of the supernatural, so reading about a psychic medium sounds interesting to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going up to read all the other comments because there are so many questions.
This was the one, oh yeah, picking cotton. That's the one I was talking about. Picking cotton.
Joe says he needs a UK CBC mug to hide his drink. We're going to have some in our charity auction in July and August, Joe. So keep your eyes peeled.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know if there's any particular item or place that you miss from France.
Oh, well, yeah. I never used to miss Paris as much as I do now that I know I can't go back there. Well, I can go and visit, but there's no one there and there's no flat. So I do miss that. I do miss, like, when we went to my mom's funeral with my daughter, we went to Monoprix, which is the equivalent of like Woolworths used to be, or a supermarket. And you look at the display of the food, it's just amazing. Like there was all this cascade of tomatoes of different color and different carrots and things. And you can see the food in France. People live to eat because they love food. So obviously all the displays, all the food in France is something that I really do miss. Um, it's not quite the same here. But yeah, I do miss Paris, and I don't know if long term I may actually not go back to live in France. I might not stay and actually go back to France, possibly. It depends whether I become a grandmother someday or not. That's a hint for my daughter.
Is she watching?
Yes, that's why I'm saying it. Sorry.
Joe wants to know if you'd consider recording your own audiobooks.
I've thought about that. The main reason I've thought about that is because, like, when I write, especially Felt Vision has a lot of dialogues. And I'm thinking, I know how I want them to sound, and I know how they're saying what it is I've written. So I think if I ask someone to do the recording for me, will they know what I'm trying to say? I know it sounds silly. Maybe it's just staying in, taking the control of it. But to my mind, I know what intonation, I know what all those dialogues are. And especially in that one, Sam is so vile to his mother. And the way he talks to her, in my mind, it was very clear. Every dialogue, I lived it, I talked it. And so if I could, I would probably do the audiobook. Yeah. I don't know how people would feel. Some people might cringe with the accent. Some people might like it. I don't know. Really don't know. Good question.
Yeah, we have a lot of members who do like to read on audio.
Yeah, it's good. I've listened to 2 or 3 audiobooks. And I found actually it's quite I felt I wanted to listen more and more and more, and I, whilst I was doing things. So, whereas sometimes a book, if I get tired, I'll put the book down. But with the audio, I just went on to listen and listen. So I probably would get too distracted and just want to spend my time reading, possibly, or just listening.
I'm too much of a fidgeter. I can't do audiobooks.
Really? Well, yeah. Then you could do your housework whilst you listen if you're fidgeting. No,
because I just wander off like somewhere else.
Okay.
Forget that it's going.
Okay.
Just it doesn't work for me. I've tried. I can't.
Yeah. No, because even though it's listening, you still need to concentrate. Because if you miss something, then you have to go back. And that's not as easy as going back a few pages, is it, in a book? You have to find where it was. So, yeah, it's got advantages and a bit of both.
Sam wants to know, she says you've made some great friends in the book club and writing community. Have you discovered some great authors and books too?
Since I've been writing and get on Facebook, I've met Joanna Warrington, who writes different novels. She doesn't write crime. She's been very helpful. But I've met you and Sam. I've met Joe. So I've met a nice community. But authors as such, I haven't No, there isn't really anyone that I can say I've asked advice from or anything like that. When I have an idea and when I want to write something, I'm pretty much one track mind, and I just want to get it done and then I'll discuss after. So, yeah, I haven't really met any author apart from, as I say, Joanna Warrington, who writes a lot of lovely. She's written some books relating to the thalidomide scandal. Are interesting books.
And you've met Sam and Joe. They're great people to have met.
They are, yes. That's what I've said. Sam and Joe have been really good. I mean, you've been really good because you've encouraged me with the book as well. Some other people, Leslie, have given me some feedback, and I've had a lot of advice, not necessarily personal advice, but reading all the comments from people. Will Templeton as well has been useful. You know, there's always someone asking a question, an author or reader, and sometimes it happened to be at a time where I was planning on doing something or the other. So I actually get the whole audience of the book club telling me what to do or what not to do, which has been really valuable.
Yeah, there's some really helpful people in the book club. But
yes,
you know, like authors just come and ask a question and there's always an answer, which is really nice.
Yeah, and the good thing is you get the point of view of the author, you get the point of view of like editors, you get the point of view of the readers, which at the end of the day is very valuable because that's our audience. And so, yeah, I've learned so much from, you know, from that community, from your book club, from bookends, from various groups on Facebooks. Donna Moffat as well. I've had an interview with her, and that's been interesting as well. So yeah, it's a nice community.
Joe wants to know if you're appearing at any of the writing festivals later in the year. He says, "Are you going to Harrogate?" Joe, are you going to Harrogate? Answer that. Like, that would be lovely.
That's a bit far. I guess it depends on COVID, doesn't it? I'm hoping to restart book signing because apart from doing Amazon sponsored ads, since I published Fell Vision in October 2020, obviously I've not been able to push it much in any other way, apart from doing those interviews as well. But I'm hoping to try to do a few book signing locally. I had been offered to go back on radio. Maybe once this is allowed, I might contact Radio Burgessill again and see if I can come and talk about my book. I may, if I can travel there with my dog and stay a couple of days, I may come to Harrogate. In Crawley, there was, in October 2019, there was a writers' fair in the library. I don't know if that will take place. If it does, then I will be there as well. But
can readers buy signed copies of your books from you?
Yes, of course. I've got copies of all three, quite a few. I will sign them and I dispatch them. I've got all the padded envelope and everything to send them. So yeah, by all means, no problem. And I've quite often signed some as a gift for someone else. You know, Christmas, Mother's Day, I've done different occasions.
Yeah, signed book makes a great gift.
It does, yeah. And I try to personalize it as well. It's not just I sign best wish. I try to make it special. So if you want a gift or something, then contact me by all means.
Joe says he'd love to go to Harrogate, but he needs to sort out transport and see what wheelchair access is like at the venue. Joe, Alex Hawley, our admin, goes to Harrogate quite a lot, and he uses a wheelchair. So
he's in a wheelchair, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, he's probably a good person to contact about the access. He might be able to help you out and like give you some advice about what's doable.
And what is it? Just a writing festival, like just
It's
author getting together?
it's a crime writing festival. So
Okay.
there's sort of paid events and panels and things, but also it's a hotel in Harrogate that Agatha Christie stayed at, and then there's like in the grounds there's normally a big marquee and a bookstore and a bar like outside, so you can just go and mingle.
Okay, well that should be interesting.
You can pay for the events and go to see the events, but you can go and just mingle.
Just mingle for free.
Free, which is quite nice.
I'll find out a bit more, and I'll I think that's something to
I mean, it's very local for me.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
I live in Yorkshire, so it's about an hour away on the train.
You don't have a strong Yorkshire accent at all.
I'm not from Yorkshire.
Ah, that's why. You have a hint, but not. Where are you from?
Lincolnshire originally, via a few other places. I don't have a Lincolnshire accent either.
No. Although I'm not sure I would recognise a Lincolnshire accent, but I do recognise a Yorkshire accent.
Yeah. I definitely don't have a Lincolnshire. We left when I was 6 months old, so I don't.
Oh no, so you wouldn't know, would you?
Couldn't possibly have a Lincolnshire accent. wouldn't be manageable.
No.
So, hang on. David Monaghan Jones says, during your research, did you meet a medium who is linked in with any police investigations? And did it generate further interaction or a meet with detectives?
No, I didn't have the opportunity, the chance to do that. I do, however, know a lady who's a medium, and I spoke to her because at one point in Film Vision, I didn't know if what I was writing about Amanda was actually feasible or not, if it was within the realm of what a medium would feel. So I did ask Jolene, who's a spiritual person guide, to tell me if that was accurate or not accurate. I would have loved to. I met an ex-policeman who knew Peter James and who's helped me with some of the police procedure, but I've not met any medium who's worked with the police. I would love that, but I'm not too sure how to go about that. It would have been good. I did read articles because I had watched the documentaries about psychic detective in the States, but I also researched in the UK because there has been several cases that have been solved by medium, by psychic detective as well in the UK. There has been some which unfortunately have been like wild goose chase, and that, it's in every place. I knew that, but some have been successful. So I researched those a bit more.
Was that Graham Bartlett you spoke to, the ex-policeman?
Oh no, it's a gentleman who was taking lessons with me, who'd left the police force, but actually he knew Peter James, and I contacted Peter James when I was writing Fell Vision for some advice, and he just told me about a couple of books to buy to help. But I didn't sort of meet him, just got an email. No, it wasn't Graham.
Fair enough. David worked in the police for a while. He's been asking questions. David Monaghan Jones. He worked for the Bridge Docs, who are crime authors and work as police consultants on TV shows.
And has he ever worked with medium? Has he ever heard of medium and the work they do?
But he's watching, so maybe he'll answer.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Joe is really smashing out the park with the questions for you. He says, how would you like to be remembered in 100 years' time, both in France and the UK?
Good question. There's two sides to me. There's the writer, but I'm also an alternative therapist. So I don't know. I think I would like to be remembered as the healing writer, because I also do Reiki and things like that. So I'm also into healing people. If I could be remembered as someone who made a difference, even in one person's life, through either my writing or through my healing work, then that will be good enough for me. I think that's how I'd like to remember the person who. I'm just toying with something. I've actually been told by a medium a couple of years ago that I wouldn't know, but actually at some point I will signpost someone who was about to commit suicide and signpost that person to the right thing and stop that person from killing himself or herself. I don't know who it is. I don't know when it's happened. I don't know if it's happened, if it will happen. This is what I've been told. And if my work in whatever field, writing or healing, can do that and help, then brilliant. I'd be very happy.
Sam says, what a beautiful answer.
Thank you, Sam. My cat agreed because he just came in meowing. So he's thinking, yes, heal me, mummy.
And Joe said you made a difference in his life, so you achieved that goal.
Thank you, Joe. You've been very supportive. You've made a difference to me as well. You really have.
Yeah, I think Joe's a great guy. I've not met him in person, and I would love to, because he seems he's genuinely pleasant.
He's the kindest person. There's times where I was very low after my mum died, and I contacted Joe not because of that, just for other things, just like to do with the book and things like that. And he always had a very kind, caring word to sort of cheer you up, and and you really felt someone cared, someone there, supported you, and you mattered. And that is a really good quality. And yeah, I'm very thankful that through my interview with Sam, I got to meet Joe and all these lovely people. But Joe has been extremely supportive. I'm very grateful for that.
It's probably blushing now.
Maybe.
We can't see him.
Can't see it. No. I did the Montague Island with him. That was fun. Did you see that? That was great fun.
I haven't caught up on all the Montague Islands, but I love the idea of it. It's a really
I really enjoyed it. And it really got me thinking about like the books and things. It was great fun. It was a very entertaining conversation, definitely. So I got a chance to do a face-to-face with him. Yeah.
I'm laughing at him saying that he's hiding under the desk.
Oh, we don't want to embarrass you, Joe. Sorry.
T said it's a fascinating interview. Sadly, she could only just join. It's TK Gearing is one of our admins now, but she writes as TK Gearing. And I think you and her would have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Because she is very spiritual.
Great.
And is a bit of a medium. She writes about kind of interesting things. I think you would probably.
Okay. If you don't mind writing her name for me, then after then I will contact her.
I will. I can imagine you two getting along really well.
Yes, I think if you are spiritual, that's why to me the medium was a no-brainer. I had to write about the medium. It came to me, but I know I had to write because this is the sort of thing I believe in. If you believe in healing and in energy healing, you believe in medium. It just follows that you do.
My dad said support and caring is part of the ethos. Couldn't get the word out then. Of this group. DG, that's my dad. He's the founder of the group. So yeah, he's quite correct. I think that's part of what we wanted to do. It's like a place that welcomes everyone.
Yeah. And that's what I found since I've joined. This is what I found. I found that, as I said, tremendous support. I found advice, very good advice from a lot of people. Sometimes it's actually stopped prevented me from wasting time, stopped me wasting time, because I was writing. I can't remember what it was, but I was writing something. I was going in a direction. Then I read a whole exchange between readers and author about that specific thing. And I thought, oh God, I'm going in the wrong direction. The majority of people don't like that. So I changed directions. Had I not read that, I probably might have made a mistake. Who knows?
And David's given us an answer back. We said that he was working in the police.
Yeah.
He said every incident room they've been contacted by a medium who's genuinely offered their help. He never got the action to meet them, but most senior investigating officers would cover what they said and take detailed notes. They always had to be open to the eventuality they may know detailed information for the wrong reasons. In fact, that could be a possible storyline.
Yes.
Which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever been covered, actually. I've read books with mediums in, but yeah, one knowing, yeah, I like that idea, David. I'd read that as a book.
I think you should read Double Vision, because you would be surprised. In fact, Double Vision, I need to find a way, I think, to get that as a drama. So many people have said to me, that story is just smashing. That story, they can all see it as like 2 or 3 part drama. Never mind Line of Duty. You have to see Double Vision in a drama, enacted. That would be a goal.
And then what are you? Oh, TK says yes to medium psychic, also a healer, never trained, just given the gift.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it is a gift. It's a wonderful gift. I wish I had it.
And what are you currently working on? Are you currently writing anything? So I know you're working on the anthology, but are you working on anything of your own?
Yeah, expanding Double Vision. And then I think it started, I'd already had the idea from before, once I was talking to Sam, I talked about doing another a book of short story, but this time for each month of the year, as opposed to each letter of the alphabet. So I have 5 or 6 stories out of the 12. So I need to finish that. I like the idea of writing crime, and I like the idea of writing totally different things. That's why I love doing flash fiction. Before I started writing the book, I was doing flash fiction for the Worthing Flash Fiction blog. And I just love the idea of writing a whole story in such a short space. Excuse me. It's quite challenging, but it's also very stimulating. And that's what some of these stories here are, very, very short. And the fact that it was such different themes, all of them, there isn't two story on the same theme in that A to Z. So that is definitely a challenge. So that's what I'm working on, the second book of short story, redo Double Vision, and then there will be a third book called Deadly Vision. And Amanda will be solving more cases.
Great. David is saying he's going to read it.
Oh, thank you, David.
But he's got to go now because his half Italian wife is serving food.
Oh, well, you can't miss that.
No, exactly not. Yes, he thinks Joe's going to win the prize. Great interview.
Joe already has a signed copy of a book. David, I think, wrote some interesting questions. And if David wants to read Fell Vision or Double Vision, if you agree, Caroline, I think I should send a signed copy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think David's given us some really good contributions today.
I mean, Sam did as well, and Joe, but Joe's already got a book. Sam's read it. So if David hasn't read it, then I'll be quite happy to send him a signed copy.
Great. Well, if you put a message in the group about that, just tag us both in.
Yeah. Okay.
So that gets.
And that's David. What was the name?
I'll send it to you after the chat.
Thank you.
We've got a question here about your short stories. Michaela Joanna, she says, what about short stories that are all crime themed?
Yeah, I actually was thinking about that. Yes, that could be. I guess I could do a crime story for each month of the year. The next one. 2 of the stories are sort of crime orientated out of the 5. Yeah, something to think about. Definitely good suggestion. Yeah.
David has seen. He says, oh wow, many thanks. David, can you message Regine your address?
And then I will dispatch. And to whom you want the book signed, and which one, Pearl Vision or Double Vision or the A to Z, and then I will send it to you signed.
Lovely. Sam says she's looking forward to seeing what Amanda does next.
Yes. Actually, Sam has really inspired me to expand on Amanda's character. She really liked Amanda, and she really prompted me to do more. And that's why, going back to Double Vision, I will expand the character of Amanda more. Plus, I got to know her more through doing the prequel. So a combination of the two, that's going to help me make more of Amanda's character.
Yeah, Sam's just one of my favorite people.
She's lovely.
She's amazing. My dad says, do you find short stories sell well?
Actually, my book of short story sells better than my other books. Mainly, I think what I've realized, and the lockdown probably hasn't helped, is that there's far more writers of crime fiction, really, than probably of any, well, that's my view, I may be wrong, than any other. And I think to pierce through as a crime writer is quite difficult because there's a lot of competition. So I find that my A to Z of short stories selling very well in Australia, actually, because they're short, and I've marketing it as like a 5 minutes read for busy people. So that seems to be doing very well.
Yeah, I think I like short stories, but I think they're one of those very divisive things, aren't they? Some people love them.
Yeah.
And then for some, it's not
yes.
Along with.
Some people have said to me, great, because like if you're on a train or if you're somewhere and you just want to read one quick story, you can go from beginning to end in a short time, or you don't have to drag a big volume like this one on the train or on the bus. This one is quite a lot weighs more than this. So there are advantages and disadvantages, as you say. I mean, thinking back, I find it more rewarding, more challenging mentally and intellectually to write a book of short story than to write a whole story like the crime fiction, if I can say that.
I'm liking David's comments. I presume they're David's comments that are coming along. Yes. Oh, he says he's going to send a message, genuinely over the moon. Unlike a medium, I never saw that coming.
That's good.
And then added, P.S. I carried on watching. My meal is in the dog.
Oh, poor David. Poor David. Actually, not to give too much away, but in Double Vision, there is a newspaper headline about something she never saw it coming. So I'd use that same joke within the context of the book, because something happens to Amanda and she didn't see it coming. She should have, but she didn't see it coming. And the newspaper, the gutter press, had a field day making a joke that she's a medium and she didn't see that major event coming. So yeah, David is very appropriate, his comments. He didn't see that coming.
Pauline Rund-Byron says she loves short stories, perfect for lunch breaks or just before you go to bed.
Yes, definitely.
So you touched on like how you marketed the A to Z of your short stories. How do you find marketing the crime novels?
Well, partly why I want to read your Double Vision as well is because at the moment it's published through a publisher in Germany. So although it's available on Amazon, I don't actually have the control of it to advertise it, to do sponsored ads like I do the other two books. So Film Vision, I do sponsored ads in the States, in the UK, obviously, in Canada, in Australia, and I've sold a few. I think the books I sell, apart from those that I have here that people ask me to send to them signed copy that I sell that way, it's mainly through Amazon and through the sponsored ads. But again, to pierce through on Amazon sponsored ads and to get any rating towards the top is very difficult because there are so many, so many crime fiction books. So it's finding the right words, the right keywords. I've tried several things. I've done some online courses, to find out how to get the best sponsored ads without paying too much. And that's been good because I'm not paying over the top like the regular people pay. So that has been very interesting to do that course. So I do sponsored ad, but they don't cost me that much. But I know that Australia, the short story is selling well. Film Vision and Double Vision are selling okay in the US and in the UK. Canada, not so much. No.
My dad says he struggles to see things coming from both his wife and daughter. That's because we like to keep you on your toes. Sam says, what an enjoyable hour with you all. Thank you, Kaz and Regine, for a wonderful interview. And she said, you haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till we gate crash you for Harrogate.
Oh, well. Thanks, Sam. Thank you.
We've got 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Of our interview. That's flown by.
It has.
Do you want to finish us off with a reminder of your books?
Yes. So let's see if I can get the camera angle right, because it's always fighting. Double Vision, yes, available on Amazon. And the prequel, Film Vision, available on Amazon as well. And the A to Z of original poems, short stories, flash fiction, available on Amazon. And I would be extremely grateful. I've given away a lot of books. So a lot of people I know are doing like me. When they get the free, they put it on their Kindle. And then sometimes it might take like a year to come around to reading it, because we all have so much to read. But if anyone, feeling the mind after this interview to read any of the one that they got on the free on the Kindle, and do a review, that I would be extremely grateful for that. And, I hope you enjoy reading my book.
Sam says, tell us quickly about the cover for Failed Vision.
Oh, I know she likes it. This is my daughter's boyfriend. There was a family event. We went nearby, and we actually waiting for a train to go past, because all of these elements are within the story. So we've got the train, we've got the underneath the archway, we've got the rider, we've got the bike. So my daughter took the picture. She did all the writing, like she did the cover of the A to Z, and it's just the minute you read the story, you understand the cover. So thanks, Sam, for mentioning that.
She said she loves it. It's a great cover and a great story behind it.
Yes, she did mention it before. I love the cover. I think my daughter's done a great. I gave her the idea and she did the thing. But to actually have the train as well at the top, I just think that is like the icing on the cake. This is the line from Wivelsfield to Burgesshill, just in case. Haywardsey, sorry, to Wivelsfield, in case anyone is watching from Mid Sussex.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me, Caroline. Really enjoyed it. Thank you. And thank you to everyone for the questions. And I will get in touch with the different people. I can't wait.